What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the AT&T Radiant Max. This is one of the latest budget devices from AT&T Prepaid, and I'm looking forward to showing you everything that there is to know about this phone here in this video. So let's get started. Now here is the box that the phone does come in. We do have some of the specifications on the front of the box, but I'll be going over all of that throughout this video. And if you're curious, the phone does come with a 2-year warranty, which is really awesome. And on the back of the box, we do have an AT&T prepaid coverage map. Now, in addition to the actual phone itself, included in the box is some literature. We have a USB wall adapter for charging. We have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. And we have a SIM card removal tool. Now, I purchased the AT&T Radiant Max with my own money from Walmart, and I paid $119. But definitely take a look at the link in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for the phone, as I'm sure that will change over time. Now with the AT&T Radiant Max, we're getting a very large 6.5-inch display. The display itself is LCD at 720p. We're getting a PPI of 264 and a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor. I'm personally a big fan of this type of design for the display, because it really does allow you to fit a lot of your social media feed into one frame. Now you've probably also noticed already that we do have a water drop notch up top for the front-facing camera, and we do have a pretty thick bottom bezel here. So in general, while I think this phone does have a good design, it is a very large phone, physically. Now up top in that notch is an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, and stay tuned for the full review video here on the channel, as we'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from the actual phone itself. Now internally here, with the AT&T Radiant Max, we're getting 32 gigabytes of storage, and we're also getting microSD card expansion. Now this device does not feature wireless charging, but we do have a fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone. So let's give that a try right now. So that's very fast. One more time. Very cool. So we do have a nice, fast, reliable fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone, which is definitely a good thing because with the AT&T Radiant Max, there is no face unlock. So besides putting in a PIN code or a pattern, you are limited to using the fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I definitely am thankful that the fingerprint sensor does work very well here. Now with this device, we are getting a triple camera setup on the back. We're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, a 5-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera, and a 2-megapixel macro camera. Now this device does support portrait mode for both the rear and front cameras, which is definitely a really good thing to see. Now here's how things look with the standard camera on the phone. Things look pretty clear here. Then from here we can switch over to the ultra-wide-angle camera to fit a lot more content into the frame, which is great. We can also go up here and access the macro camera, which allows you to take very close-up images in good detail, which is good. In addition to that, we can go over to portrait mode to get those nice blurred out backgrounds that I know that everybody's a big fan of. And then we can switch around to the front-facing camera to take selfies. Now with the AT&T Radiant Max, we're getting 3 gigabytes of RAM and the MediaTek Helio P22 processor. Now I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test here with the phone, and I'll show you the scores right now from that test. But you can see, with the device, I got a single core score of 149 and a multi-core score of 875. So this isn't necessarily the fastest phone out there, but then again, from my experience of using it for a brief period of time, it does run decently smooth, and definitely for more basic tasks like phone calls, text messaging, light social media usage, video viewing, and browsing the web, this phone will get the job done for you, which is definitely a good thing. Now, as far as video recording goes with this device, it does max out at 1080p for both the front and rear cameras, so there is no 4K video recording. And with this phone, we're getting a large 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery. Now, as far as the software goes, this device does run Android 10, and I have no idea if, when, or ever it's going to get Android 11. And if I had to guess, it probably won't. But the good news, though, is that the software that we're getting here with the phone is very well optimized, and in general, things run very smoothly, and it also very closely resembles stock Android. So if you are a fan of the stock experience when using an Android phone, then the AT&T Radiant Max will definitely be very familiar to you. Another nice thing about this device too is that it does feature NFC. So if you are a fan of making mobile contactless payments with services such as Google Pay, for example, then this phone will work for that, which is great. That's also something that you don't find too often with phones in this price range, so I'm definitely really excited about that. Now, taking a closer look at the hardware of the phone, I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, but yeah, essentially we are getting bezels that are a little bit on the thicker side, but on the other hand, I am happy that we are getting a display with this phone that is bright, clear, and good looking. Now, taking a look at the left side of the phone, we just have the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the right side of the phone, we have the power button, volume down and volume up. Then up top here, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, and we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the phone, we have the microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. And then, taking a look at the back of the phone, we have the camera module, fingerprint sensor, and AT&T logo. Now the finish on the back of this phone is pretty interesting. First thing is that we are getting a gradient, so kind of a darker blue at the bottom and a lighter blue at the top. I think that does look nice. And what's interesting too is that the finish on here is kind of reflective, but not quite as glossy as some other phones out there. And I actually am a big fan of that, because with the phones that have a very glossy back, fingerprints are very obvious and pick up very easily. Whereas with a phone like this, yeah, you still can see some fingerprints, but it's not nearly as obvious. But in general, I think the AT&T Radiant Max is a pretty interesting offering from AT&T Prepaid. It's really nice to see that cheap phones are getting better and better. And especially carrier-exclusive phones like this one are really packed full of different features despite having a pretty low price tag. But I'm really curious to know what you think about this device. AT&T Prepaid has launched quite a few phones under their own brand recently, such as this one, also the AT&T Fusion Z, which I've also covered here on the channel, and the AT&T Maestro Plus, which is kind of the smaller sibling to the AT&T Radiant Max. So we do have comparisons of all those phones coming out on the channel in the future, so I'm super excited about that, and a variety of other content coming out too. So again, let me know what you want to see about this phone, but more importantly, give the video a thumbs up, make sure to sub to the channel if you want to, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great day.